Episode 4. Let's do this. Okay, so today we're going to talk about creating and utilizing mental space. So, mental space is something that's talked about in a really cool work on humor by a few guys by the names of Matthew Hurley, Daniel Dennett, and Reginald B. Adams Jr. So, these guys put together a compilation of humor theories and to form their own humor theory. And so one thing that I really want to focus on is their explanation of the intentional stance. So the intentional stance talks about creating mental spaces and mental spaces that allow us to perceive things from a different perspective. So the authors talk about the importance of the creation of these mental spaces because, quote, the more mental spaces we create, the more places there are for humor to happen. So, to put it in some different terms, it's different pairs of glasses that you're wearing. And so, if I have, I have my white Caucasian male glasses. Well, Caucasian and white, that's the same thing, duh. So I have Caucasian, male, college educated, environmentalist glasses. So I have my perceptions. So think about creating intentional space or intentional space overall as more pairs of glasses. And so there's different tints on each of these glasses, so I can see, oh well, now I can see this. And if I put on my Australian guy glasses, oh, I look like this, I see this. And if I put on my Japanese glasses, Japanese cultural glasses, I can see things from this perspective. And this applies to not just jokes but just life in general. And so I think this is vital to our personal development and our sense of humor development. So we need to be able to understand where people are coming from. And so I've created this little exercise called somebody else's glasses or somebody else's shoes, depending on what your favorite article of clothing is. Anyways, so pick a group of people or a person that you're completely dissimilar with, by gender, socioeconomic status, ethnicity, what have you. Now envision your life as that person. And it may work better if you think of a specific person, a celebrity maybe, or if you have a friend or know somebody that is in a completely different situation from you. Put yourself in their shoes. Put on their glasses. So you're eating different things, you're thinking about etiquette differently, social norms, be it holding the door for people, or even walking by and waving at people as you see them on the street is completely different. And this may take a little bit of research, so just to understand kind of where people are going. So this is creating a mental space. The goal is not to laugh at anything that an older Chinese man would laugh at, because that's, you're not an older Chinese man. Like, that's not possible. That's not plausible. But what the goal of this practice is to do, and what you've just done by creating this mental space, and what you can continue to do by creating more mental spaces, is to get you thinking about what other people, what their thought process is when they think things are funny and when they think things are a certain way. So to bring it back to inside jokes, the work that I was just had explained at the beginning of the video, the intentional space is particularly useful in humor because, the more mental spaces, the more intentional space we create, the more things we can laugh at, and it takes a while to cultivate these spaces. It's not instantaneous. Like, oh, now I find all of Jim Gaffigan's things funny because I created this mental space and thought about why somebody would listen to Jim Gaffigan. That's not how that works. It takes a little while. And this is not to say, like, this is forcing you to like Jim Gaffigan or forcing you to think Dave Chappelle is the funniest man on earth. This is simply giving you an insight into, like, oh, my friend James finds Gaffigan hilarious because that. Oh, that's cool, you know? And saying that, like, oh, yeah, I understand the thought process that people are going through because that's where their space is. That's where their space in the head, in the intentional space is. And I've created a similar space so that I can relate to you over that. Or I can relate to you over this political issue because I've created this intentional space. And so practice your mental spaces. That's the exercise for this week, or this video, number 4. And tune in for our master classes. Next 2 episodes will be master classes with Francis Hutchison, and then our secret author person guy who's going to help us out. Bit more of a modern flair. Anyways, I will see you guys in the masterclass episodes.